Bye-bye.
What's our first item?
Shall we just start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jean Perrin, can you come up? Right here, Jean. What do you know about this?
I know that it belonged to my father-in-law's mother, and I was very curious as to the finish that was on it. It's very different.
It has a texture, hasn't it? Bob, what does that mean?
Well, it's rose tapestry is the name of it. This type of work in the tapestry, and strangely enough, since you asked it, I'll explain this. It actually is a tapestry that is painted. It's put over the porcelain, then it is baked in a kiln. They call it Royal Bayreuth Rose Tapestry. It will be marked on the bottom, and sure enough it is. Now, the interesting thing about this, dating this probably to around 1890 to 1900, rose tapestry is expensive. This little piece has a value of around $250 to $300.
What
Isn't that amazing?
surprise.
It is, yeah.
Now, the plain Royal Bayreuth that just has the mark on the bottom, doesn't have this rose tapestry, has a nice value, $40, $50, $60, but look at the difference.
Wow, yeah.
So it pays to know, doesn't it?
Yes.
I think it's a beautiful one. Don't see too much of it, not in this part of the country anyway.
Thank you.
Very nice, thank you.
Thank you. How very interesting.
Good to see.
It looked like it had kind of a rolled texture on it. Do you know how they do that?
No, I really don't. I think they kind of kept that a secret because I have not seen it done by any other manufacturer. Just Royal Bayreuth.
Beautiful, thanks. Mary Ann Williams, where are you? Right over here. Interesting little picture.
I know what this is.
Do you?
Yep.
I don't have a clue. Mary Ann, do you know anything about it?
It's called Old Sleepy Eye Pottery, and it came in flour sacks as a premium.
Oh, that's right. This bust of the Indian is Old Sleepy Eye, and Old Sleepy Eye, an Indian 1780s, I think, in Minnesota. They apparently thought enough of him that in Minnesota, when they formed the Old Sleepy Eye Milling Company, they named it after him. The town was named after him. All of the pottery is named after him. The bust was put on everything, and it is highly collectible. Given as premiums at the time, what, maybe 10 cents, 15 cents, 25 cents? How about a value of $250 to $300? Highly collectible, isn't it wonderful? And I'm glad you knew something about it, too. That's great.
That is amazing for a piece that came free in a flour sack.
Yeah.
That it would have achieved that value.
That's a very renowned Indian, I guess.
I guess so. Very nice. Roy Grover. Come on up here, Roy, right in the center. What'd you bring in today?
Well, this is my great-grandfather's pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And he was given that by a ship's captain when he came over to this country in the 1840s.
In the 1840s. Flexible stem, an amber bit, a wood brace here. Now, this is tough. This appears to me to be meerschaum. And I feel that it is. Sometimes you'll find the old meerschaum pipes will have a staining, and generally they will stain a cherry amber. This has some flecking to it, so I can't tell exactly, but the piece is so characteristic of the German pipes of the period, 1800, 1850. I would say that even though we have a little damage here, which is not great, the value would be somewhere in the neighborhood of between $150 and $200. And certainly nice to have in the family, isn't it?
Oh,
Yes, it is.
definitely. Oh,
Thank you.
Look at this. Is this a picture?
The picture.
This is my grandfather
Of your
with the pipe
grandfather?
from the
Look at
30s.
this.
He's the one that gave me the
Of
pipe.
him actually smoking that pipe. Can we see that? That's a great shot. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
bringing that up. Very interesting. Peg Peter, right here. Right here in the middle, please.
Hello, Peg.
Hello.
Do you have any background on this?
It was given to me by a friend who is a collector, and he said it was pressed glass, about 150 years old.
Well, I think your friend is pretty good because I feel the same way. This is a bullseye pattern, as you can see here. And if you look at it carefully and you look at your things at home, you'll see it's elongated bullseye. There's a way to tell you're old pressed glass, and we're old when we're 150 years. To some of you, that's old. To me, it's not quite that old. Sandwich glass, in all probability, in the Boston area, 1850, and if I ring it, and it has a real high ding to it, it's sandwich glass. If it has a lower resonant tone, it probably is a lead glass. Let's see what happens.
Aha, sandwich. Yeah.
Way high. Now, your sandwich glass, 1840, 1850, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit earlier. Little hard to distinguish between this and ordinary pressed glass. And I don't mean ordinary because of it being nothing. I just mean the ordinary pressed glass of the 1890s, 1910, 1920. Sandwich glass, highly valuable. They made wonderful whale oil lamps out of them. This is a classic piece, value in the neighborhood of $125.
Oh, I see.
Not much?
Rather nice,
Very
Peg.
carefully.
Thank you. How do you recognize the fact that it's that old? Is it by the pattern, by the shape, by the ring?
Resonance, pretty much.
Primarily
And-
the resonance.
And you get used to, Dana, to seeing the patterns. When we got into pressed glass, and many of the factories were making pressed glass in the 1870s and 1880s, and when you have at home, and you go into your china cabinet, and you look and see all the pressed patterns, that's called pattern glass. You can learn those patterns by getting some of the books, and it's fun to do it. But this particular piece, it's just the elongated bullseye, and it's very characteristic
I see.
of,
So,
of sandwich glass.
as a longtime collector and appraiser, you just
Yep.
recognize that.
You recognize it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our purpose is to create a place for our members to come and run their trains. Most of us don't have model railroads at home. It's a collective effort. This is bigger and better than any railroad that any single member could ever hope to do.
It is bigger and better. The rail lines run between Portland, Oregon's Union Station and the freight yards at Wishram, Washington. That's about 100 miles. Plus, they have a line up the Deschutes River to Bend, Oregon. The Columbia Gorge Railroad Club has built it from scratch, starting with a wooden support for the track.
Then we cover over the empty spaces with strips of cardboard, and then between the strips of cardboard we take strips of paper towel, which are dipped in plaster, and drape them. It dries, forming the shell of the scenery. Where we want a rock outcropping, we actually have a flexible rubber mold of a chunk of rock. We fill that up with plaster and hold it in place for a few minutes while it dries and peel the rubber mold off, and you've got a very nice textured piece of rock outcropping.
They finish the texture by chiseling with dental tools. Then it's ready for paint and landscaping.
In our case, we make the bushes and the trees. We've got a group of people that really enjoy just sitting at a table building these trees. And we're modeling here old growth Douglas fir. Old growth, you know, they look a little rattier than your average Christmas tree, but you take a whole bunch of them together and you get a real forest effect.
There are over 2,500 trees in this section alone. Then, of course, there are buildings, people, cars, everything that trains pass by. Some of the buildings are made from kits and some are handmade. Union Station, for example, was made by a member who is an architect. He hopes to find a jeweler who can install a running clockworks in the clock tower. The meticulous detailing, like these hand-soldered posts, take hours to get just right, and even the tracks are detailed.
But we're adding gravel, and we're painting the sides of the rails to cut down on the reflective sheen. We're trying to simulate the rust and the grease.
And all this before we even get to the running trains. Then electronics come into play. Several club members only work on the technical end of the layout. The beauty of the club is everyone contributes his or her special skill. The plaster workers, the technical workers, and every other kind of worker make a collective effort. And the payoff?
This is our home. We put a lot of work into it, and we love to show it off.
The club opens to the public for the first 3 weekends in November every year. Members put on their engineer outfits, if they have one, and run trains.
One of our purposes as a club is to promote the hobby, And one of the ways we do that is with our show. We also need the revenue from the show for our economic survival.
Thousands of people walk through or ride and watch. For many of them, it's the first model railroad they've ever seen. And the club sets up a mini model railroad so they can have some hands-on experience with the trains. The club engineers communicate through headsets from station to station to make sure the tracks are clear for their train. The trains don't just run around uninterrupted. The engineers have to switch them and make sure there aren't any wrecks. It takes a lot of concentration, and the engineers rotate shifts every hour.
And you get a much better sensation of running on a real mainline railroad than you would in a home basement.
You can't believe the number of hours that goes into this model railroading. This has been a continuous 5-year project, and some of these people have literally worked on this a year around. Railroaders say that things are never quite done. A lot of details to be accomplished just to get it into a position where once a year we can come in and feel like kids again.
Pardon me, boy, is that the Chattanooga Choo-Choo?
Yes, yes, track 29.
Boy, you can give me a shine.
Can you afford to board Chattanooga Choo-Choo?
I got my fare
And just a trifle to spare.
You leave the Pennsylvania station about 3:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore.
Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer
Than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina.
When you hear the whistle blowing 8 to the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far.
Shovel all the coal in, gotta keep it rolling.
Ooh, ooh, Chattanooga, there you are.
I'm out here in the audience, and we have a question from an audience member.
When people bring items in to be appraised, and you are so kind to give them appraisals, then can they go right out and sell them?
Ooh, good point. I'm so glad you asked it, because what an appraisal is, and certainly in this text, is an evaluation of what the probable replacement cost would be, what the insurance value might be. It doesn't mean that if an item is appraised at $100, that you can take it out and sell it for $100. Sometimes you can find out from your dealers, it's the best place to do it, find out what the dealer feels it might sell for. So if you go to sell it, you can sell through the dealers on a consignment basis or sell yourself, but the selling price is generally less. What I'm talking about is the replacement value. Okay?
I think we have another question over here.
Yes. What percentages do these deals charge on consignments?
Oh, good. The dealers would have to tell you, but as I understand it, it ranges anywhere from 25 to 40%. And it probably depends on the item. The best way, really, and I've found that most dealers will do this, go in and talk to them, and they'll tell you. And that's the best way in the world to find out.
Thank you.
Can I take a look at something here?
Sure.
I can't resist this. I know it's not a submachine gun. Oh, a beautiful guitar. May I?
Yes, go ahead. The maker's name is still down there in the...
The maker's name is down there. From the looks of the case, are we in the 1840s, 1850s, somewhere around there?
That's about right.
All right. Now, you can see the age because of the age cracks on the face of this. The name of the maker, and the maker is, I don't know the pronunciation, is R-O-H-E in Paris. It seems to be really very beautiful veneered burl work, and it's inlaid on the reverse side. Isn't that an attractive piece? Now, some of your guitars have very, very high values. When you get into the very playable Gibsons, we're running into 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. It's a little difficult for me to give you a value on this, except to say to you, I feel we should be in the neighborhood of, even in the condition it's in, $600 to $800. By the way, sir, I didn't get your name.
Bob Rothschild.
Bob, great name. Thanks, Bob. Okay.
This is so colorful. I have to see this. Look at the color of this. Isn't it wonderful? You know what that color is called? Pigeon blood red. Funny name. It's not the cranberry, the light coloring. It is actually, now how would I know whether it's pigeon blood red or not? I don't, but they call it that. But look at the enamel work inside. Now I'm going to ask this gentleman something if I may. By the way, what's your name, sir?
Bob O'Brien.
Another Bob.
Another Bob.
Great. We did this especially and intentionally today.
Right.
The enamel work is exceptional. The color is exceptional. The ormolu mounts, as these are called, are exceptional. The piece is probably Mosier. Do you know?
Yes.
Is it signed?
Yes.
Whee! That's great.
This-
But it's hard to find, I bet, isn't it?
Yes. This piece was given to my mother by an elderly couple. He had already passed away, by this lady. It was they were early cattle people in Northern California, and he went to San Francisco in the early 1800s on a stagecoach and bought this for his wife for the wedding gift.
Oh, wonderful. Mosier actually goes back, we're in the Czechoslovakia area, to the early 1800s. This piece probably in the 1840s, 1850s, 1860s, somewhere around there. Is the Mosier signature real little?
Yes.
Most of the time, if you have a piece like this at home, I dare you, try and find the signature. It can be only 1/8 of an inch long, but if it's signed Mosier, as this piece is, the value would be in the neighborhood of $350 to $400. Beautiful. Thank you.
Collectors love miniatures. Take the most common object, make it small, and it becomes enchanting. Dollhouse furniture is the perfect example. A chair, a table, a toilet are charming because they're small. And it's not only children who appreciate these things. The early dollhouses, and some go back to at least the 16th century, were actually enjoyed by adults, wealthy adults. They weren't a common children's toy until they were mass-produced in the 1800s. These are examples of 20th century dollhouse furniture. They were made from all kinds of different materials. The cast iron pieces were produced from the turn of the century through the late 30s. These were manufactured by Kilgore. Tootsie Toy dollhouse furniture was made in the 20s and 30s. They're painted pot metal and very fragile. Pieces with moving parts that aren't broken are becoming rare and especially collectible. The plastics have also become collectible. They were produced in the 40s and 50s by several manufacturers. Usually they were pastel shades, but sometimes you'll find them in primary colors. Like the Tootsie Toy furniture, collectors seem to look for plastics that have moving parts. The limbs are all articulated. They move. And that means that this little guy was almost certainly made before 1940. By the mid-40s, most stuffed animals were one piece, like this. If you're thinking about buying antique teddy bears, there are certain characteristics to look for. The earliest bears between 1902 and 1915 had small ears and long limbs. They had shoe button or stick pin eyes, not glass. In the 20s, the ears grew and the limbs shrunk. Also, look for the hump. Early bears had a definite hump back, which began to disappear in the 20s. Natural fibers are the best clue to antique bears. Usually the stuffing was excelsior or straw, and before the 40s, they almost all had mohair fur. Old stuffed animals are highly collectible, hard to find, very expensive, and very delicate. If you own one, or you're thinking about buying one, there are some precautions you can take. Never put them in plastic. Natural fibers need to breathe. You can wrap them in tissue, and acid-free tissue is best. In fact, a couple of mothballs wouldn't hurt. Watch for holes in the seams, especially around the neck and shoulders. If the paws or eyes need replacing, try to find original materials or match the original as closely as possible. If you can use a needle and thread, you shouldn't have too much trouble with small repairs. But when it comes to major injuries like missing limbs or restuffing, it's a good idea to take the old friend to an expert restorer.
Nice. What would it be used for? What's your name, by the way?
Marie Heine.
Marie? What do you think it was used for, Marie?
Champagne bucket,
Hey,
I suppose.
there you go.
Yeah.
Champagne bucket. Now, either a champagne bucket or it could be a very tall vase with flowers in
Right.
it.
And I've used
I prefer champagne. This is embossed. It's called repoussé is the work. And the repoussé work generally is done on sterling silver, but frequently I will find it on something of this nature that is a plate over silver. Have you had this checked by an assay?
No.
You haven't had it checked as yet? You might do that. You can have it assayed for perhaps $3 or $4 and they'll tell you whether it's sterling silver or not, and it's worth it. I haven't made a terrible mistake, but almost. I took a very fine piece when I wasn't sure to a silver expert, and he said, Bob, I don't think so, but I'll test it for you. He went upstairs and tested it, and he came back and said, congratulations, the whole set was sterling silver. So what does that mean? We can't really tell when it's unmarked, and this is unmarked. I feel it's silver over a plate, because when you have something with a handle, generally they didn't make it in sterling silver. Once again, too soft. The piece, perhaps 1870, 1880, very fashionable. I'm sure they drank champagne then. How about a value of, just in that unusual style, $300, $350. Okay? May I? You've got several of these in here, haven't you?
I was told that they were either perfume, lay-down perfume, or tear collector bottles.
Okay, have you got any stoppers for these?
Yes.
May I have one? Oh, good. So you have 4 of these. And I'll tell you what I think you have here. What's your name?
Kathy Austin.
Kathy Austin? I think it is a scent bottle. French. It has a little teeny stopper that goes right in here. This one doesn't fit this bottle, probably fits one of the other bottles, but see how small they are? Quite characteristic. You get used to seeing these, but you're also used to seeing them in English. Web. This is not web. The decoration is too typical of French, so let's call it a scent bottle, and I'll call it something else. Please, I don't want to startle anybody, but they called them bosom bottles. Guess why? The ladies would put schnapps in them. So, interesting. I think I'll call it a bosom bottle. And we'll put a value on it of, for each one, in the neighborhood of between, and they're quite old, by the way, 1840s, 1850s. Let's put $100 on each one. Highly valuable, very collectible. Thank you. We'll lend a little light on the subject with this one, because it's a lantern. What's your name, sir?
Herb Perkins.
Herb? I'm going to have to ask you a little bit. Is it Welsh?
Yes.
Is it marked?
Yes. I
Hooray.
found it.
Hooray. You found a mark on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes these were made both in England and in the United States. They call them, and this being Welsh, I would say, and I'm sure this gentleman knows this, a Welsh miner's lamp. But I often saw them used, since they swing and hang like this, they were used on shipboard and they were used on the railroads. It's much more romantic to say, and more interesting to say, a Welsh miner's lamp. It's a tube lamp. Do you burn kerosene in it?
I do.
You do. So this is after the oil period. So we're somewhere in the neighborhood of perhaps 1880 or thereabouts. I think oil petroleum reserves were found about 1857, so we know we're after that. How about a value of $125 and excellent condition brass?
Wow.